First at 11, South Florida getting a big taste of winter. Many of us could be waking up to temperatures in the 30s tomorrow morning. Good evening, I'm Todd McDermott.
And I'm Felicia Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. Parts of the Treasure Coast are under a freeze warning through tomorrow morning, but that's not the story everyone in Florida is talking about.
Amazing. I've never seen this much snow here.
Well, today, snow, sleet, ice, and rain blew through Tallahassee. Just to put things in perspective, it was warmer in Juneau, Alaska than in Tallahassee at that time.
Kidding me? But the snowflakes in Florida are nothing compared to what's in store for the Northeast. The same system that dumped snow in Georgia and South Carolina is now zooming up the coast. Today, people packed grocery stores, stocking up on food and supplies. This is video from New York State where shelves are empty.
We have declared a Wpbf 25 first alert weather day as temperatures continue to drop across our area. We begin with meteorologist Chris Martinez. Chris?
Yeah, I can tell you the wind outside howling and the temperatures are tumbling. It has a little bite out here and it's definitely on the cold side, and you don't want to be outside too long because we are talking about the potential for freezing temperatures as we head through tomorrow morning. Take a look at this graphic again. We're talking about a freeze warning that has been issued for the Treasure Coast, including Okeechobee County, St. Lucie County, and Indian River County, where parts of those counties could see 32 degrees or below for at least an hour. So that's why that freeze warning has been posted across that area. And also we have a wind chill advisory. So the actual air temperatures combined with the winds that we're seeing howling out of the northwest, anywhere between 10 and 20 miles per hour, we could be talking about feels like temperatures between 20 and 25 across the Treasure Coast as you wake up. Numbers right now, they're cooling down quickly. We're already in the low to mid 40s across the Treasure Coast and even in towards Indian River County, between 42 and 45. Across the Palm Beaches, most of us have dropped into the upper 40s, still holding on to some low 50s right now in towards West Palm Beach, right along the coastal section. So numbers as you wake up tomorrow morning, let's get down to the nitty gritty. We're talking about numbers that will be in the low to mid 30s from Okeechobee back towards Vero Beach and down towards Stewart. The rest of the Palm Beach County will be into the mid to upper 30s. So cold area wide as we head through the overnight hours. But the wind chill numbers, what it's actually going to feel like as you step outside on your Thursday morning, ouch, between 25 and 30 across the Treasure Coast from Okeechobee County back towards Vero Beach. And it will feel like the low 30s with that biting wind as you wake up on your Thursday morning across the Palm Beaches. Nonetheless, take that jacket. I'm out here freezing. I've only been out here for 4 minutes. So that's what we're looking at right now. The question is, when do we see that warm up? I'll have all those details, of course, for you in just a little bit. Back to you, Flea.
All right, Chris, thank you. Our team coverage continues now with Ari Height, who is live at Harborside in Jupiter with how people are dealing with the chilly temperatures. Ari?
How people are dealing, how I've been dealing with the temperatures. I've actually been standing here looking at these palm trees for a while just to remind myself that, yes, we are still in Florida because it doesn't feel like it. Wind chills in the 20s, not exactly what we're used to here in the Sunshine State. But even if you're someone who enjoys this kind of weather, people and animals all need to prepare. Gone are the shorts and flip-flops, replaced by heavy coats and scarves. Winter has come to South Florida.
I'm actually enjoying it. I just came from Connecticut, so it was like 6 degrees. So this is great.
I love it. It's a welcome change, a welcome relief.
You're not even a little bit cold?
Not even a little bit cold.
Maybe he's not, but enough people are to impact the restaurant business. Plenty of open tables at restaurants at Harborside Place in Jupiter Wednesday night, as long as you didn't mind eating outside.
A lot of snowbirds are coming down and escaping the north, so we're very busy right now, but I think it'll be an indoor night.
Even if you are indoors, you might need a space heater, but good luck finding one. These shelves at the Home Depot in Jupiter used to have space heaters, but they've been sold out for days.
All right, so we bring this forward.
And while people can protect themselves, Some of our animals need a little help. Nature Speaks in Jupiter rescues and rehabilitates horses. They know with temperatures this cold, the horses need blankets or they could easily get sick.
That's why we have this warm barn for the horses to be in overnight with blankets on and shavings down in the stalls.
Similar situation at the Palm Beach Zoo, where all their tropical residents have been brought inside until this weather passes.
But these guys are rainforest animals, so they're used to it being very warm and very toasty.
Warm and toasty is also what the turtles like at Loggerhead Marine Life Center. That's why workers here are heating the ocean water pumped into the turtles' tanks.
A healthy turtle could probably tolerate it, but since these are all sick or injured animals, we've got to be very careful with them.
And I also tonight talked to a citrus farmer about what these temperatures might do to their crops. He tells me it actually has to be colder than this, talking about temperatures in the mid-20s for a number of hours before it impacts the crops. He says unless something changes from the forecast, the citrus crops should be okay. That's the very latest. Reporting live in Jupiter, Ari Height, WPBF 25 News.
Ari, thank you. Shelters are now open for anyone looking for a warm place to stay. A shelter at the Image of Christ on North 7th Street in Fort Pierce is currently open. The Source on Commerce Avenue in Vero Beach open tonight at 9 o'clock. Guests are accepted on a first-come, first-served basis. 2 cold weather shelters in Martin County are now open. The shelters are at the Boys and Girls Club on Southwest Palm Beach Street in Indiantown and the Gertrude Walden Child Care Center on Southeast Lake Street in Stewart. And here's a look at the 2 shelters that opened in Palm Beach County tonight. Those are at the Westgate Community Center on Oswego Road in West Palm Beach and the West County Senior Center on State Road 15 in Belle Glade. Your outdoor plants might not make it through the night if you don't properly cover them up. Experts in St. Lucie County recommend using a cloth, old bed sheet or blanket to cover the plants because it helps trap the heat. If your plants are in large containers, it's best to clump them together to protect the roots. Experts say it's also important to not to start pruning too soon.
Just like hurricane season, the plants and the trees, it takes a while for them to really show what kind of injury or symptoms they have. So to take it easy on the pruning for the next couple weeks.
Well, once this cold snap passes, be sure to take the covers off your plants immediately to give them a chance to warm up.
As Chris mentioned earlier, that same system bringing wintry conditions here to Florida is barreling up the East Coast. This major winter storm, also known as a bomb cyclone, which comes with a dramatic drop in barometric pressure. By the end of this week, parts of the Northeast could be colder than the planet Mars. I'm not kidding. According to Mount Washington Observatory up in New Hampshire, the temperature will drop to -35 with the wind chill Friday and Saturday. At last check, the high temperature on Mars was just a balmy -2. Meanwhile, people in other parts of the country are still working to clear the streets after the storm blanketed multiple states. Parts of Georgia got up to 4 inches of snow, forcing schools and government offices to close. People in the Carolinas and Virginia are bracing for snow and ice tonight, and blizzard warnings are also in effect for those areas. Parts of the Midwest are also dealing with whiteout conditions.
Well, the cold weather and snowy conditions are impacting flights across the country. You're taking a live look at flights departing from Palm Beach International Airport. Many flights heading north have been canceled or delayed. Today, icy conditions closed the runways at Charleston International Airport. More than 3,000 flights across the country had been delayed earlier. More than 500 have been canceled. At LaGuardia Airport in New York, more than 90% of flights for tomorrow have already been canceled. Well, as the temperatures drop, you'll want to have the WPBF 25 News app. You can track the temperatures right from your smartphone. We'll also send out push alerts with any significant weather updates. The app is free for Apple and Android devices. Tonight, fired Riviera Beach City Manager Jonathan Evans confirms he plans to file a lawsuit against the city by the end of this week. The City Council abruptly fired Evans in September. The 3 council members who voted in favor of the move have never cited an exact cause. So far, they have not hired a permanent replacement for Evans. Evans did not reveal the exact details of his pending lawsuit.
Well, tonight we're learning more about a possible motive behind the murders of a local woman and her 11-year-old daughter. Police say the accused killer, Marlon Joseph, lived in a home in West Palm Beach with his mother and the 2 victims. The arrest report states Joseph was upset about the child's So-called bad attitude. U.S. Marshals tracked down Joseph to a Lake Worth apartment yesterday where they arrested him. Police say he was hiding out with his cousin, Javari Williams, who was also arrested. Joseph is being held without bond. Investigators have now identified a woman who was hit by a car in Boynton Beach. This is a photo of the hat she was wearing at the scene. A car hit her on New Year's Eve on Eau Claire Ranch Road. Deputies are now reaching out to her family. They have not made her name public at this point. She's in critical condition at Delray Medical Center.
Now to an update on the condition of a 14-year-old girl who suffered burns to 95% of her body in a bonfire accident. Lane Chesney's mother tells us doctors are giving her encouraging news. She says despite still being in a medically induced coma, she is doing remarkably well. Her vitals are perfect. Her organs are all fully functioning. Chesney suffered the burns on New Year's Eve. A gas can exploded as she tried to pour gas on the fire. Doctors say the teen still has a long way to go, but most people do not survive the first 48 hours following injuries this severe.
New tonight, President Donald Trump signs an executive order to disband his voter fraud commission. In a statement, the White House blamed the decision on several states that refused to provide private voter information to the commission. Critics saw that commission as part of a conservative campaign to strip minority voters from voter rolls. They also believe the Trump administration used it to justify or try to justify unproven claims made by President Trump that voter fraud cost him the popular vote during the 2016 election, when he lost by more than 3 million votes. Today, the president's indicted former campaign chairman filed a civil lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Justice, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, and Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Paul Manafort claims the one-time FBI director, Mueller, exceeded his authority during the Russia investigation by delving into Manafort's business affairs unrelated to the Trump campaign. Manafort faces several felony charges, allegations of money laundering and other financial crimes related to his political consulting work in Ukraine.
Well, as you probably know, temporary flight restrictions go into effect every time the president visits Palm Beach. Tonight, a group of pilots met in Boca Raton to discuss those regulations. 2 F-16 fighter jets intercepted a private plane flying in restricted airspace while the president was at Mar-a-Lago last week. That pilot says he was unaware of the airspace restriction.
Make sure before you fly, you check your notices to airmen. Any questions, make sure you find a facility like Palm Beach to call. If there's any questions, please do call. And that way we can avoid this, because the outreach is trying to get even better to make sure this stuff doesn't occur.
Well, last week's temporary flight restriction violation has been forwarded to the FAA.
A suspected thief finds himself in a very unusual situation. Tonight, how he ended up trapped inside the store he tried to rob.
Plus, a little piece of Civil War history shows up in North Florida, what someone found that had authorities scrambling.
Hurricane Irma's impact still being felt in South Florida, when investigators say caused this beach house to collapse.
And here's a look at Hilton Head, South Carolina, one of many southeastern states that saw snow today. But the storm isn't done tonight. The massive system barreling up the East Coast and the temperature drop here in South Florida. You're watching WPBF 25 News.
Breaking news.
At least 5 people are dead at the Fort Lauderdale airport. This is the first mass shooting of 2017 right in our backyard.
Breaking weather.
15 tornado warnings.
Day after day, these stories shape our lives in so many ways.
The Trump era has begun.
Another winter White House.
It's about defying disaster.
The water just took over everything. I don't even know what to say.
Tackling an epidemic.
Opioids have the state of Florida addicted.
And local stories making national headlines. It's about alerting you first.
You need to go to your safe room. Stronger rotation coming on shore.
Weathering life storms.
2 million customers without power.
Together.
Puerto Rico in crisis.
And earning your trust.
We will be here with you.
For the stories that shape South Florida, trust the Emmy Award-winning team who knows your community best. Live, local, late breaking. We are WPBF 25 News.
Happening now, the police chief in Round Rock, Texas, confirms 2 young girls who disappeared last week have been found safe.
Investigators also caught their suspected kidnapper in Colorado. Now, 44-year-old Terry Miles, who lived with the 14 and 17-year-old girls and their mother near Austin, was spotted in surveillance video from a Colorado business Saturday, December 30th. That's the day before police found the girl's mother dead in her home. Officers call her death suspicious.
Well, now to Houston, where a thief found himself trapped inside the store he actually tried to rob. Surveillance video shows the suspect walk into the store and around the counter. The employee refused to cooperate with the suspect and walked out of the store with several customers. The employee then locked the door, keeping the suspect inside. The man made several attempts to get out, even shooting at the locked door. Eventually, he drops to his knees and prays. Police later arrested him. Well, staying in St. Johns County, check this out. A portion of a home on Ponte Vedra Beach collapsed. The part of the beach where the house sits is heavily eroded because of Hurricane Irma. Firefighters say no one was living in the house. Other properties along that same stretch have collapsed from beach erosion. Well, as we've been telling you, people in the Northeast are finishing up those last-minute preparations for that massive snowstorm.
That system is supposed to bring sleet, rain, even hurricane-force winds to some areas up north.
40,000 tons of rock salt ready to be loaded and spread throughout the city of Boston. We're going to have 700 pieces of equipment starting tomorrow morning, going all through tomorrow.
The city of Boston is bracing for the first snowstorm of 2018, which promises to bring significant snowfall, followed by more extremely cold weather, which is why Mayor Marty Walsh says there's a sense of urgency here.
It's important for us that we get this snow off of the ground as best we can tomorrow, because once the freeze comes in, it will be almost impossible to move the ice that will be formed.
DPW will begin pre-treating the roads and sidewalks tonight. Then the snow emergency begins at 7 a.m. Thursday.
After that, 7 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start towing cars off the street, ticketing and towing. So you really have to get your cars off the street before 7 a.m. tomorrow.
The city is urging people to stay off the roads and work from home if possible. Today, outreach workers like Marianne Ponte of St. Anthony's Shrine were searching out homeless people to offer them shelter from the storm.
Obviously, with the big storm coming tomorrow, we're going to remind people that the storm is coming tomorrow. Sometimes people aren't even really sure what day it is and don't know when a storm is coming.
Well, people living in South Carolina decided to have a little fun in the snow. One woman had her dog named Kodak pull her through downtown Charleston in South Carolina. She posted the video on Twitter with the hashtag Mush. Chris?
All right, Flea, stepping outside, it continues to be cool, and today was the last day in the 70s, believe it or not, that we'll see here across South Florida. In fact, this was our high temperature right after midnight. Morning start has been 54 degrees so far again. So again, a warm start to the day, and then those temperatures took a tumble, as you know, through the afternoon. So let's run down this freeze warning again, issued for Okeechobee County, back towards St. Lucie County and Indian River County. Freeze warnings are put in place with the anticipation of some areas around the county could see at least 32 degrees, freezing for at least an hour up to 3 hours. So that's why that freeze warning has been issued across that area. The rest of the area, including the Treasure Coast and the Palm Beaches, seeing a wind chill advisory. So the actual air temperature combined with the wind, we could see feels like temperatures between 20 and 30 degrees tomorrow morning. So numbers right now are dropping slowly but surely. We're already down into the low 40s across Okeechobee County. 42 degrees for you, 44 Vero Beach, Port St. Lucie, in towards Stewart. Upper 42 Palm Beaches, a little bit warmer across the coastal sections near West Palm. But generally, we can say that everyone is in the 40s right now. And as we continue our trek through the early morning hours, here are your numbers as you wake up tomorrow morning. Right at freezing through Okeechobee County, just above freezing in Vero Beach, Port St. Lucie, and Stewart. We're going to be in the mid to upper 30s across the Palm Beaches, but what it actually feels like on the skin tomorrow, that's going to make you grab that extra layer. We're talking about temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s with feels like temperatures through the inland communities and right around 30 to 35. That's what it's going to feel like on your skin tomorrow morning through a good bet between 6 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you're venturing out, it's going to be downright cold. So back here at home, we're actually one of the warm spots, 52 in West Palm. We go up to the north because you've been hearing more and more about this storm system. this big winter storm that has the potential to drop feet of snow and gusty winds, what they're calling a major winter storm. And you may have heard of this called as a bomb cyclone. And you're like, what is that? What's going on? Seems like a big fancy term. What's happening with this storm is it's dropping in pressure quickly, and what we call a bombing system, or a system that's bombing, drops 24 millibars of pressure. That's how we measure the pressure of this storm. And if that drops 24 millibars in 24 hours, that's what we call bombing. And you can see what's happening as it continues to move towards the north. Watch the winds right here around the center. Everything gets very compact together, and that shows that this is an intensifying storm. So yes, blizzard-like conditions, hurricane-force winds possible as this major winter storm. We're going to hear more about it as we head through the next 24 hours. Back here at home, smooth sailing. We've got dry air in place and a lot more of it to come as our flow is straight out of the northwest. So we're going to stay in this cool flow through the next few days and really not warming up quickly until maybe Monday. Small craft advisory in effect tomorrow. Seas running 8 to 10 feet. Rough conditions on the inland waterways. Here's a look at South Florida's certified most accurate forecast. Cold, cold, and slightly warmer by the weekend. We're not back to near normal until Monday.
Chris, thank you. Happening now, lawyers for President Donald Trump have sent a cease and desist letter to fired White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon, demanding he refrain from making disparaging comments against the president and his family. That letter comes after excerpts from a forthcoming book were made public today, drew an angry disavowal of Bannon by the president. Arlette Sines has the very latest.
Bombshell allegations made by President Trump's former chief strategist Steve Bannon are rattling the White House. In an explosive new book, Bannon describes that infamous 2016 Trump Tower meeting between Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, campaign chairman Paul Manafort, and a Russian lawyer promising dirt on Hillary Clinton as treasonous and unpatriotic. President Trump has defended his son.
I think from a practical standpoint, most people would have taken that meeting. It's called opposition research, or even research into your opponent.
Mr. Trump insists he knew nothing of the meeting during the campaign, but Bannon argues that's not true. He says the chance Donald Trump Jr. didn't walk the attendees to his father's office after the meeting was, quote, zero. And Bannon predicts special counsel Robert Mueller's team will crack Don Jr. like an egg on national TV. The president is now lashing out at the man he previously called a good friend, saying, quote, Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind.
I think furious, disgusted would probably certainly fit when you make such outrageous claims.
The book Fire and Fury is due out next week. ABC News obtained an advance copy of the book by veteran journalist Michael Wolff, who had unusual access to the West Wing. Among the claims, many on Team Trump, including the candidate himself, didn't think he would win. Even First Lady Melania Trump allegedly didn't want her husband to win and was in tears when he did.
The White House is dismissing the book as tabloid fiction. A spokeswoman for the First Lady said Mrs. Trump was confident her husband would win and was very happy about his victory. Arlette Sines, ABC News, Washington.
Investigators are trying to figure out what started a fire at Bill and Hillary Clinton's home in Chappaquiddick, New York. That Westchester County town's about 40 miles north of New York City. At least 3 fire trucks responded to the scene. It took just minutes to knock out the flames. The former president and First Lady have lived in the house for nearly 20 years. They bought it for $1.7 million back in 1999.
New at 11, someone in St. Augustine uncovered a little piece of history, an old mortar shell from the Civil War. Yesterday, police responded to reports of a possible cannonball. Right now, the bomb squad is analyzing the mortar to see if it is still active. The sheriff's office says anyone who finds similar items should turn it into their local law enforcement agency because it may still be dangerous. Well, at least one lucky person could have just landed some major cash.
The winning numbers for tonight's Powerball drawing. You're watching WPBF 25 News. Let's talk really big jackpots now. The Mega Millions jackpot rolled over again. No one matched all 6 numbers in last night's drawing.
That means both the Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots are now more than $400 million. The Mega Millions is up to $418 million. The next drawing for that jackpot is on Friday. The Powerball jackpot is up to $460 million. Get out your tickets. Here are the winning numbers.
Across the country, it's time for America's favorite jackpot game. Get ready, everybody. This is Powerball. Good evening, America. I'm Laura Johnson. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is worth an estimated $460.9 million. So get those tickets out. Let's play. That first number up is 42. Followed by the number 39. Tonight we're going to meet David Chemistruck, who won $2 million playing Powerball. Now for the rest of those numbers, we've got 18, the number 2, rounding it out tonight with the number 37. Your Powerball number tonight is 12, and your Power Play multiplier is 3. Let's take a look at those numbers one last time. And from all of us here at the Florida Powerball Studios, thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here Saturday night.